Okay, so today we are going to be doing the you can't code under pressure here. I'm going to leave the link in the description below so you can click on it to code along with me. So we'll click on train again, and then this is actually a very simple one, a very simple problem that we are going to solve, because I want to use this to introduce certain concepts in programming, in Python programming. So the instruction says code as fast as you can. You need to double the integer and return it. That's all. But before I do that, I want to explain a few things. So the first thing I want to explain is how functions work, right, in Python. And to do that, we are going to be using this as our board for explaining certain things. So we have functions, right? Functions are simply like tools used to perform specific tasks. Okay, that's what functions are, and that's what they do. Now in Python, to define a function, we use the def keyword and then the name of the function. So maybe if I want a function to do addition, right, I'll just put the name of the function here, maybe addition, right? And then since I'm doing addition, I would like to take two numbers or three numbers that I want to add. So in this case, maybe I'm taking three numbers, so A, B, C, and then bring a colon, right? So this is the first statement for defining functions in Python. You pick it up along as we do other tutorials. Okay, so this is the first step. Now in doing addition, in this case within the function that I'm defining, what I want to do is I want to do A plus B plus C. So I can create a new variable, and to create a new variable in Python, all you have to do is type in the variable name. Now I just mentioned a new word called variable, right? Variables are simply containers. As you see in almost every blog that you open, they always describe variables as containers, because in truth that's simply what they are. They are containers. They are just made to hold certain values for a certain period of time. Then when you change the value, they also change. So that's what variables are. And in this case, I'm going to create a variable to hold the sum of A, B, and C. So my variable is going to be called sum, and then it's just going to be equal to A plus B plus C. Okay, that's all. And now, since this is a function, now when a function is being executed, it executes in a different scope. This is a bit high level, but you get it along. It executes in a different scope. So you always have to return from the function back to the main code. Okay, let me use this diagram to kind of explain it. So you can have this. So let's say this is the boundary of our main code, right? This is our main code, this box here. Now what a function is kind of like an island, right, within this main code. So what's happening is maybe we are executing the code, then we enter the function. Now when we enter the function, there's something we want to do. So in this case, addition. So we get our A, B, and C, we do the addition, everything is done. Now in order to continue in the main, we have to return out of this function. So that's the reason why in every function being defined in the Python model, anything that related to Python or any other programming language, you always have to return from the function. That's the reason for the return statement. So we have to return. Now you can return from a function without any value. So you just get out of the function, you just escape for the function. But in this case, since we want to do addition, we want to return the sum, so that we don't just return from the function, but we also present the result of what the function did. Okay, so now if I want to demonstrate the operation of this function, I can just create three numbers. So I can say num1 is equal to 20, num2, and this is creating variables, right, is equal to 30, and num3 is equal to 40. Now we know that 20 plus 30 plus 40 will give us 90. Okay, but now let's use this function. So we are going to say sum of numbers, right, is equal to, then I'll call the function. So to call the function, just type the name of the function and then you pass in the parameters. So num1, num2, num3. Okay, and then I'll just print sum of numbers to confirm what we've done. And since this is a visualizer, you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. So let's visualize the execution. Okay, so now at the start we don't have anything because the first line is a comment. That's how we comment in Python. We comment in Python using this hashtag symbol. So anything that is commented in Python will not be executed. It's not seen as code. Okay, now the next line we are defining our function. So now I'll go to next, and then you see our function has been defined. So you can see here that our function addition has been defined, and it's pointing here saying that it's a function. Okay, then when we move to the next thing, we create a variable. Now this is the global frame. The global frame is just saying this is the main thing. So you see on my whiteboard what I showed you here. Yes, that is what the global frame is representing. That's what this global frame is saying. So in this global frame, we have the addition function, we have num1, we have num2, okay, and then we have num3. Now we move to the next line, which is sum of numbers being equal to this addition function that we are calling. So now look at what will happen. Now you see now the code moves, you see the red arrow moves back to the addition. Why? Now we are in a different frame. We are no longer in the global frame. We've now entered the addition frame, which is the addition function. You get it? So now we operate within this, given the numbers that we have, the num1, num2, num3, which are 20, 30, 40, right? We perform the operation, okay, and then we store the answer in the sum variable we created, still within addition. Now what do we do next? We return sum. So what do? We get out of addition. So when I press next here, you will see that this arrow will move, this arrow here will move to this line 11 to execute this, and then you will realize that we will no longer be inside the addition frame, but will rather be in the global frame. So when I press next, you see now we are back to global frame, and we have sum of numbers holding 90, which was the result of the sum we did. You see, so it has returned that 90 back to sum of numbers, and then we print it out. So this is how functions work. Now the reason why I'm explaining this is because in all the Codewars problems that we'll be solving, they are all in the form of functions, and you need to understand the basic operation of functions in order to be able to solve this problem and follow along with me. Okay, so that's the reason why I did this simple explanation of functions. If you don't get it, there's no need to worry. We'll be doing other tutorials, so if there are any questions, you can also ask me in the comments below. Other than that, you just follow along and then you pick it up on the way. So now here, what we are trying to do is double the integer and return it. So the integer being talked about here is I. Okay, let me make this a bit bigger so you can all see. Now the integer that we're talking about here is I. Okay, so I is being passed here, and then we have to double it and return it. So we can get rid of this line of code, and then now we want to double it. So I can see results is equal to 2 times I. I've doubled it. Now what do I have to do? I have to return the results. Very simple. Very simple. I know some of you might be thinking of doing it directly. I mean, instead of creating the variable, you could just return 2 times I. Yes, which is very true and also correct, but I want to take this slow and stepwise, right? So I'll create a result, double it, and then just return that result. I want to make it stepwise so that it's easy for you to pick along as we move. Okay, so now if we are done, this is it. So we can test it, and then you realize that it works perfectly. Okay, you pass the test. You can attempt to try all the other test cases. You see 100 out of 100 assertions correct, outstanding, and then you submit. So this is our first kata, our first Codewars challenge. We'll be doing the rest later on. I'll put the link in the description to this Python visual code analyzer and the online whiteboard in case you need to use them. Thank you all. Subscribe to this channel to enjoy more videos like this. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll try as much as possible to answer your questions in the next tutorial, in the upcoming tutorial, and have a blessed day.